Yeah.
Dane, just talk about your off season, kind of how the summer went, and what you're excited for the season, and introduce the players you brought.
Sure. Yeah. No, I thought it was a great off season. Good competition for our guys. That was kind of the theme for us throughout the winter months. Obviously into spring and then into summer once we get a start up. Lost a lot from last year's class. We bring back 5 starters. Pretty senior heavy. It was a really good athletic group for us last year. So a lot of question marks as you're going into the off season, which most teams across America have those same questions. But at the same point in time, those questions, all those are opportunities for some of these guys, for their teammates to step up. And I feel like the summer months were very competitive for us, like I mentioned. Bobcat Camp was huge. I think we had 6 or 7 practices leading into that. We went to a Skelly tournament at Rocky, which was a great experience for our guys. I think we competed well at that. And then Coach Murray, Coach Mahelish hit on it. The scrimmage that we did out in East Helena, those are valuable reps. I mean, all those reps this offseason were huge for our guys, for their growth, for their development, for our evaluation as coaches. The group that we have coming in, I'm very excited about them. It's going to be a lot of unknowns, new quarterback, a couple new guys up front, different guys in the secondary. It's kind of across the board going to be a who's who of unknown guys stepping up for us. But like I said, that's opportunity for those guys to come out and compete and prove themselves. So I'm very excited about the 3 guys I have with me. To my right is Riley Schulte. Riley played a bunch of snaps for us last year, kind of got thrown into the fire due to injury in certain places, but stepped up, had a big year for us at corner. Played a little wide out for us. We're going to ask him to do more of the same this year. We've got to find ways to get Riley the ball in space. He's very explosive. Football IQ, football intelligence is really, really high with this young man. We're very excited about him to kind of be the leader of that secondary receiver group for us. To my left is Hudson Bell. Hudson's one of those guys that had his season kind of derailed with injury last year. It's really a bummer. Obviously the worst part of the game is seeing kids have to battle through that, but he's done a great job. I think you just walked in 30 seconds ago. What'd you have, acupuncture or something, or chiropractic work done? So he's getting his body right for the season. But how do you play a little tight end and kind of our stand-up outside backer in our 3-4 scheme? So we'll ask him to do a lot of things as well. And then more of, I guess, our well-known cat coming back is Nick Kantorowicz. Nick's played a ton of snaps for us up front the last 2 years. He'll start at right tackle for us, and then obviously be an anchor on our D-line.
I've already forgotten your name, I'm sorry.
Hudson.
Yeah. Talk about injuries and fighting through those, and maybe missing some last year and then maybe being healthy and playing this year.
It's been hard. Never want to have a season-ending injury so early in the year last year, but I think it's just made me more ready for this year. I'm excited to go to battle with these guys next to me.
Sure. Coach, so you're going to be playing some tight end?
Yep.
What goes into that position, prepping for you? Mentally, physically for you?
You gotta get strong. It's a hard position. You gotta block like O-lineman and still be fast enough to catch and be agile like that as a receiver. So, gotta really be prepared to play that position. But
Nick, would you say you're maybe one of the more veteran offensive linemen for this team?
Yeah, definitely. I was probably including me, the other 4 offensive linemen all graduated. They're all going off onto college and stuff. But yeah, got a pretty good group coming up. They've been doing pretty decent in the weight room. So yeah.
Who are maybe some guys in that room or that group that maybe you've seen or kind of bonded with this year or this offseason?
I'd probably say Chase Orchard or Bert Davis. There's some guys in there. It's been, yep.
You were all offense last year. How do you build upon that? How do you get better this year?
Just continue. Just learn after your mistakes. Just keep grinding with the boys. Just play ball. That's it.
I had a question for Riley. So I want to ask you first, what's your relation to Coach Schulte?
So he's my dad's cousin, so we're barely related.
Okay.
I don't really know him as a family member, so yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. You guys, obviously, the secondary has been a huge part of Helena High's success, I guess, defensively. So how do you kind of continue that tradition of having really strong playmakers back there and having a really strong defensive secondary?
I think the biggest thing with our secondary is our communication. As long as we can communicate, be in the right spots, then we'll be perfectly fine.
Then another question for you. It sounds like you're going to be playing a lot both ways. I know a lot of Helena High guys are doing that. Not everybody in Class AA is doing that, although more than they used to. But how do you kind of meet that challenge at the AA level, the highest level of football here in Montana?
Obviously, big 3 things: sleep, hydrate, eat, be ready for it. Especially like the week of the game, you gotta hydrate the whole week, not just the day of the game. So yeah, always be ready.
I got a couple of questions. Coach, more state of the program first, and then we'll move on from that. I think you said the numbers are actually, even though, Helena High's overall numbers make you, maybe the second smallest AA school now, but the football program numbers have gone up. You feel like the numbers have gone up this year, or you're in a pretty good spot?
Yeah, I think we're in a good spot, about where we've been senior-wise. 18 of those guys, that junior and sophomore class about the same, about 60 total with those 3 groups, and then this freshman group coming in is a little bit bigger. We have a pretty big influx of kids coming in from HMS, so we're excited about them. To have a few more numbers at that freshman level is a really big deal. So we'll, look to keep those kids obviously involved. Coach them up, get them indoctrinated into the program. Those guys have had a really good summer coming in. They've been very committed in the weight room. It's fun to get to know those kids coming in. Like I said, very competitive group across the board. A few bigger bodies in that group that we're really excited about up front to hopefully fill, Nick's shoes and some of these guys that we're going to lose here in the next couple years. But yeah, I think overall we've done a good job of managing, the changes that's happened at Helena High. I think you're right. I think maybe Belgrade's got a few fewer kids than we do, but yeah, we're one of the smaller AA's at this point. It is what it is. You adapt and change. And Chris, you hit on it. We've had to adapt kind of our system and philosophy in terms of guys having to play more snaps both ways. We've had to change practice and what the week looks like. More of an emphasis, like Riley was talking about, on recovery and make sure guys are right for Friday night. But no, I'm excited about it. I think we're in a good place and excited about this new bunch that's going to join us tomorrow.
Your staff, any changes to the staff? Or I know you've got a lot of your main guys returning. But.
Yeah, the nucleus is there. Coach Garza's been there a long time, does a great job leading our offense. Coach Schulte's same boat. He's been at Helena High a long time. That consistency within your 2 coordinators, that's a big deal for us. And then we've got a handful of other guys that have been there a long time. Kerry Cicero's been there, basically since he started teaching in Helena over a decade ago. Kevin Flato's been there a long time. He's a former Bengal who's been around. Did have some turnover up front. We actually lost all 3 of our guys that helped out O-line wise, so we're bringing in 3 new guys. Tom Dwyer, Chris Silvanen will jump over from the defensive side of the ball, and then Nate Bignell is going to help out our younger group as well. So yeah, you're probably thinking like, what in the heck, a Bignell at Helena High? But yeah, we lured him over there. He looks good in the silver and Cardinals, so happy to have him on board. But yeah, the rest of our staff, like I said, is pretty consistent. Sean Bloomquist is back, Isaiah Seck's back. We're bringing in one other new guy. Eric Young is going to be a math teacher in our building. He was on the 95 Grizz championship team, played secondary for them. He's got some Montana ties, has a kid going to Tech, finishing up at Tech right now. So he's actually beating the heat. He's pulling a camper up this weekend. He's going to live in Helena until they get housing figured out, but I know he's excited to get out of 110 every day. So.
And obviously some question marks, as you alluded to, throughout your starting 11 on both sides of the ball, but quarterback battle. Obviously, good quarterback in your own right, coming from Idaho, was it, before you came to Carroll? Were you an Idaho guy?
Yeah, I was about 40 pounds ago, but yeah, grew up in Idaho, ended up at Carroll. But no, Reese Silvanen will be our quarterback. Really, really talented, 3-sport athlete, great basketball player. It's kind of nice. He comes with a twin brother who will play slot receiver for us. He'll play a little outside backer as well. Reese, a very cerebral kid, very smart. Like I talked about with Riley, football intelligence. Reese is one of those guys that's just very coachable. He picks things up. Obviously saw the peaks and valleys with him this summer. That's natural for any kid stepping into a starting AA, quarterback position. So, but the exciting thing about Reese is, like I said, he's so coachable. You tell him one thing one time and he gets it. He's kind of a gym rat. He's in all the time. He spends a lot of time on huddle, and he asks the right questions, and you can just tell that he wants to play the position at a high level. You add that with, he's a good athlete. We'll run him a little bit more than maybe we did last year at the quarterback position. which adds in kind of another element to your offense. But I'm very excited to see his progression throughout the season. I think he's got the tools to be a very good AA quarterback.
And one more, Nick, being the lone returning starting offensive lineman, does that kind of make you kind of a coach on the field too with these guys? Obviously, the ability there, but having the experience and letting them know that they've never been through some of these things they're going to go through, kind of guiding them and helping them in that way as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a pretty hard switch up going from a coach that you've had all 3 years up until your junior year just leave you. And then it's awesome to get a new perspective too on the position. I mean, it's probably the hardest position on the field, I'd probably say. But yeah, definitely going to have to be a leader up there. Got to coach the guys like the coach does too, but yeah.
I had a question for Hudson. I know since you were hurt last year, didn't get to play a ton. I think there's a couple of varsity games.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity on this team, obviously. So like, how exciting is that for you, just to have the opportunity to play some extended varsity this year, and to there's a chance to really kind of shine?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I was really bummed out when I got hurt last year, obviously, and I'm extra excited this year because I get to play with the boys I've been playing with all my life. I only got to really play with the same group like freshman year. Sophomore and junior you get mixed up with other classes, but this year we're back, and I think we have really good chemistry. So I'm really excited.
I wanted to ask you, Dane. You kind of mentioned it going back to the quarterback. Is it kind of exciting too that you might have some growing pains this year, but you have 2 years with Reese as your quarterback, or you get a chance to instead of having to develop a new starter next year, kind of taking that long-term view? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously growing pains, like you said, associated with that position, especially. It's a big jump going from junior varsity to Friday night varsity AA football. But I think Reese is going to handle that well. I think that is exciting, to know that we will have him for 2 years. The stable behind him with young guys coming up. There's a few more guys that we're very excited about, young guys that'll continue to push each other, continue to push Reese a little bit, which is a good thing. It's always good to have competition in every position group, and especially the quarterback group. But no, I think that stability and the long-term approach, like you said, to give him opportunity to get more reps. That's, again, going back to my opener, was this summer was so valuable for a lot of those younger guys, and a lot of guys that are going to play key roles for us. Was just, reps are so valuable, and it's the mindset with them that nothing is won in June and July, and truly it's going to be a game-by-game approach, which it needs to be. I mean, the final outcome of what the season looks like will play itself out depending on how hard we work and how committed we are as a group. But no, I think that outlook for Reese to potentially be a 2-year starter is a big deal for us.
In my time here, I think this is my 7th or 8th year in covering Helena High. Defense has always been identity, Riley, so I'm going to kind of shift to you on this. Stingy defense, takeaways. I know Coach Schulte still preaches that, even with new guys, that culture should still be there, and I'm sure that's where you guys are going to really hang your hat on. Maybe working with some new guys and making sure that defense is locked down and doing what it needs to do. Can you just talk about your defense and that kind of culture and your program's pursuit and thoughts on how you approach the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, the defense needs to get the offensive ball to score, so it starts at defense. The biggest thing, again, is everyone communicating, being on the same page. And yeah, I think we got a lot of good defensive players who are going to get us the ball back. So yeah, we're good.
Coach, you mentioned it, of course, you've got 5 starters returning, a brand new roster for all intents and purposes.
Sure.
What does Bengal football look like? When you have such a turnover, sometimes it changes maybe game plan, schemes, that sort of thing. What are fans going to see Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think the blueprint is still the same. It's like, you just hit on, it's, play good defense, be solid in special teams. Offensively, we may look a little bit different with Reese behind center, coming from MAC last year, but it's a lot of the same. The culture, the things that we've built. Going back to Coach Arnson, through Coach Evans, and then into myself. We haven't changed a lot in the last 30 years at Helena High. It's been very consistent in terms of our approach and how we approach the off season, how we approach fall camp, how we approach game week. A lot of those those things are very consistent, and hopefully the same outcome comes from those. It's just attacking every day, every rep's important, every practice is important leading up to it, and there may be new faces, new names, guys in different positions, but our defensive philosophy isn't going to change. It's get to the football and take it away, and then be balanced on offense. Run the ball, throw the ball. The RPO stuff. It may look a little bit different than what we've done in the past, but it's take care of the football on offense, be sound on special teams, and play really, really good defense. If you do those three things, you got a chance.
You mentioned Reese. We got Hudson, coming back after an injury. What are some of the new names? There's names that fans don't know yet, right? That they're going to start hearing loudly at Vigilante Stadium every week. What are some of those names that you expect to kind of step up this year and be a big deal?
Yeah. I mean, outside of Reese, obviously, I touched on his brother. Grayson will play both sides of the ball for us. He'll play slot receiver, very explosive young man. Got to find ways to get him the ball. We'll move him around a little bit. Pacer Libert, he was part of the 4x1 championship for us this spring. That's another name. He's healthy. Had a soft tissue injury coming off a track season, but he feels really good. A kid that we tried to get involved, had to battle a few things injury-wise as well last year. So we'd love to keep him healthy. Well, he's kind of the Swiss Army knife guy for us. We'll move him around in the backfield. We'll split him out wide. We'll put him in the slot, a little bit of everything with him. And running back, it's kind of by committee right now. Unfortunately, at the scrimmage in July, we lost Trent Sapala. He suffered a season-ending knee injury. Again, going back to injury, it's the worst thing in this game, and I feel really bad for Trent. His junior year will be cut short, but again, with him going down, it's on other guys to step up. It'll be Drew Esponda, it'll be Peyton Lorenz. Braden Garza is a name that nobody knows yet. Obviously, Manny's called our offense for the last few years. His son's a sophomore, and he'll get an opportunity to carry the ball a little bit for us. But it's Hudson, it's Eli Nearing at tight end. We'll try to utilize those guys. We feel like we have a couple good tight ends that we can use. Run game, pass game, do different stuff with, and it's going to be by committee at first because again, we just don't know what it's going to look like till we get out there. We're far from a finished product, which nobody in America is at that point right now. It's about practice tomorrow and practice one, and that's truly all that's important. These guys start talking schedules and stuff. We have one game. It's August 29th against Skyview. So we'll get ready for that one and evaluate, and make adjustments as we need to. But no, it's very exciting to have some of these guys finally get that opportunity. You work so hard in this sport to prepare and so many paydays, if you will. Your basketball, you can play 20-some games a year, 30 games a year. Legion Baseball plays 80 games a summer. We have 9 guarantees. That's it. And you put a lot of effort into those 9 guarantees. So I'm excited to see these guys step up once they get that opportunity.
Well, I wanted to ask you just Capital obviously gets a lot of credit for their winning tradition. They've won a lot of championships, but you guys have had a lot of success too. 20-some years, I think, now in the quarterfinals. Scott Evans, once said to me, if it's November, Helena High's playing football because we play football. We win playoff games, we get to those games. How much do you think that consistency and that expectation, carries over even in a season like this where you're turning over a huge part of your roster?
Yeah, the standard is the standard. I know that gets thrown out a lot, and the standard and the culture and all these things, but we do. We have a very proud tradition. Obviously, we're chasing 90-some years of ghosts. You come in our gym and there's one banner on the wall, and that's been a long time. And every team in America is talking about state championship, this and that. We have it as a goal, obviously, for the end of the year, as everybody else does, but we're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the process that it takes to get to that level. You have to have a lot of things in your season go right, even to have an opportunity to get there. But yeah, the standard for us is to compete, to carry ourselves the right way, to be great people, to work our butts off, which these guys have done. They've done a great job of that in the off season, and just to put yourself in a position to have the opportunity to play football in November. And truly the wins, the playoff run, the quarterfinal run, all these things. We've often been a bridesmaid, never the bride, but that level of consistency, we're very proud of. A lot of that goes back to our staff, like I talked about, the continuity that we have, the culture, the blueprint, if you will, that we've set that was built way before I got here. You know, I just kept the boat trying to go in the right direction. So, but no, I mean, all those things that we do, who we are, you know, what we are as and what we stand for as a football program, that, you know, leads to that success.
Coach, what do you think about the media day so far?
I love it. Love it. These guys got donuts. I mean, life's good, man. But outside of that, no, it's great. I really appreciate you guys having us out. I think this is great exposure for these guys. It's great to have, you know, this group of coaches together, this group of kids, you know, see the new faces coming up. I think it's great exposure for our sport. In our community, I think high school football is a really big deal. It's a big deal in the state of Montana, but especially, you know, Helena, the surrounding areas. There's really good football. You look at the runs that, you know, you mentioned Capitol High and their banners and what they've done. I mean, that level of excellence is unmatched at the AA level. You know, what Coach is doing out in East Helena and building a brand new program into a contender now, a legit Class A program. And then, you know, what Coach Horn and Coach Lang do at the Class B level. You know, you're surrounded by great football in the Helena area, Broadwater County, Jefferson County, which is, you know, I don't know if you see that, you know, in obviously other pockets of the state, but to have, you know, 5 teams who are very competitive and in the playoffs and doing great things off the field, you know, it's pretty cool to have. So awesome to highlight that within our community.